These are some flood-prone area signs you should know, especially if it's a case that you live in the area or you do business in the area. So where I stand here is where I call Flatbridge. This bridge is specifically popular for the music video Nobody Cannot Cross It.
3 miles down the road is the Yalas River. Residents were forced to pay between $250 and $500 to cross, as transportation was restricted to either a heavy-duty vehicle or being lifted across.
Right now, nobody can cross it.
All right, I know. So just keep this in mind that this video, to my recollection, is like over 20 years old. Because this would have been a video, I believe, that would have surfaced after a major hurricane. I think it was after Ivan. You can correct me if I am wrong in this regard. But still, this video is quite old. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning this to you here is because this bridge is still here. The height of this bridge is of major concern. If you're going to look at this particular clip, you should see that the height of the bridge is basically not higher than the sediments that are present on the riverbed. Now keep this in mind as well, that this is relatively hot time. You can see based on the water that is there that this is considered to be base flow. So it is well beneath the levels of flood waters that we can see this river as it is. And yet you can see the height of this bridge relative to where the water is currently flowing. Now my first question is, why is it that even after all these years, with these signs that the bridge is susceptible to flooding or inundation, that there is nothing that has transpired? Now if you look on this image, pay close attention to that brown area there on the bridge. That is a sign of recent deposition of sediment. That's a sign that the river would have flooded this bridge since the music video I played earlier. So again, it is a highlight here that this specific bridge is not ideal as it regards to being able to be that important transition point whereby persons who are within the community can ingress, egress in times of disaster, as an example. Now take note of this other point that is of major concern for me. This relic of a past, I would say, section of a bridge. Now, according to some senior residents who I spoke with, who have been residing within the communities for over 60 years, this bridge or this relic would have been here since then. So we can even look at, say for example, some of the material that's used, and we can then infer that this would have been within the time period of colonization. This specific location, as I would have been told, would have basically been broken up or washed away as a result of the force of the river. So again, in this respect, we can see based on these highlights that this specific location is highly susceptible to strong forces as regards to the water. Now here is another observation I would have made. Note these boulders, massive boulders, at least 2 meters in diameter. These boulders, I would have come across these after making my way past the bridge and walking up to the route of Hall's Delight. So let's just say it's between a meter to 10 meters from the bridge location. The size of these boulders reflect, again, the power of the river. Because for these boulders to be here, they would have had to be moved here. They are somewhat rounded in a sense. So that indicates that there is a degree of transportation that would have been provided by past flood events. Now, after I would have moved past that location, I then came across here. And here we can see signs of what we call inverse grading, where there is smaller sediments at the bottom, and then we can then experience larger sediments. Notice how I have raised the camera and you can see the larger sediments climb higher. Now, all in all, what this is highlighting is that in terms of the alluvium that we can see here, it's relatively recent, And in this respect, again, it just highlights that this entire location that I'm standing is prone to experience flooding. Now, it also could be that that particular spot would have been raised as a result of the force of tectonism or earthquake force. But nevertheless, combined, all of these are cues that where I stood is prone to flooding and or earthquakes of significant strength. These are things you need to be looking at or looking for when it comes to you choosing your sites to build your properties, whether it be for residential, commercial, or other personal reasons.